This video will be a very difficult one, and I tried my best to make my thoughts very clear. I wanted to make sure that before I start yapping, you understand that this is not an attack on a group or an individual idol, but rather I want to have a conversation. I am in no way calling anyone evil or saying they are supporting what is going on in the world. I am more just wondering why this is happening and why there are fans that do not place morals and human rights over their idols. And before I go any further, I just want to apologize if my voice sounds a little weird. It's because I got the COVID. Yes, in 2025. Let's move on. There will always be people who support their faves no matter what. There are people who support Seungri after what he did. Chris Wu still has fans even though he's in jail for sex crimes. And no, I'm not comparing anyone in this video to sex pests like Chris Wu or Seungri. I'm just making a point. I just want to talk about when you guys think a person should put morals over their love of K-pop or their love of any celebrity, movie franchise, or even social media influencers. This video is not to educate you on genocide. I feel like if you're watching this video without knowing what is going on in Gaza or you don't care, you're watching this video in bad faith. But in case you want to educate yourself further, I have some fantastic videos that I highly recommend. Shaun's video titled Palestine is very educational and talks about the history of the horror that Israel has been committing against Palestinians. Spooky Scary Socialist has a video that is called Debunking Every Zionist Argument Ever, which is also a fantastic video as it debunks so many of the points the Zionists use to try to excuse what is going on in Gaza. Lastly, I recommend Noah Samsen video Manufacturing Consent on Genocide, where he talks about how the media covers the situation and whitewashes the crimes Israel is committing. All of these will be in the description box for those interested. Lastly, I will also recommend the book The 100-Year War on Palestine. Lastly, if you clicked on this video just to defend your favorites and don't want to even watch the video till the end, I will not hesitate to remove your comments. I'm not here to argue about who is in the right. I am a supporter of Palestine and their right to live and have been a supporter for years now. I just wish that I had educated myself even earlier. So if you haven't, now is your chance. I will also say, unless stated otherwise, nothing in this video is my personal opinion, but rather what I've gathered from other netizens and just straight up facts. I will leave all sources in the description box as well. If you believe that Israel has not done anything wrong and is in the right, you seriously need to get your shit together. Amnesty has declared that Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinians. The Palestinian Center for Human Rights and Al-Mesan Center for Human Rights both say that Israel is planning on wiping out the Palestinian people. The Center for Constitutional Rights that is based in the US have also said Israel is committing a genocide. The UN recently announced that they have concluded Israel is also committing a genocide. The International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court have said that what is happening in Palestine is genocide. There are whole countries who have accused Israel of the same. South Africa, Belgium, Bolivia, Colombia, Cuba, Egypt, Ireland, Spain, Libya, the Maldives, Mexico, Nicaragua, and Turkey. Human Rights Watch, Euromed, Doctors Without Borders, and almost all genocide and Holocaust scholars agree that Israel is committing a genocide. I could keep going, but I think you get the point by now. And before we start diving deeper into the topic, I want to make it clear that I'm not here to tell anyone what to do or who to support or not support. I trust every single person watching to be grown enough to make your own decisions. I am just here to start a conversation. Anyway, in this video, I will be covering multiple things, and I know this is a long video. The video was split into chapters, those being, what is a franchise and how do they work? Why are we boycotting? Why hire famous people as ambassadors? Let's talk about BTS, other idols, why this matters and why we need to call this out, and lastly, what you can do as an individual. If you want to skip around, that is completely understandable, but if you have the chance, I would appreciate if you watch the whole video in its entirety and share it with your friends, fellow stans, and anyone else who would benefit from it. Thank you. Now, before I start talking about the main topic of the video, which is K-pop and morals over K-pop, I feel like I need to take some time to explain a few things, because I feel like some people don't completely understand how, for example, franchises work and overall large corporations and companies. I'm sure some people do just argue in bad faith, but I'm gonna go through this video doing my best to explain instead of arguing with people like that. So let me start by explaining how exactly a franchise works due to people using the excuse, this is in Korea and that has no connection to other locations in the world, which is just false. So what is a franchise? The Cambridge Dictionary defines it as a, quote, a right to sell a company's product in a particular area using the company's name, end quote. A franchisor, aka the corporation that owns the trademark and business model, will license their intellectual property, procedures, their business model, brand, and the right to sell branded products or service to a franchisee, aka a person or corporation that owns and operates a business using the trademark and business model system licensed from the franchisor. In return, the franchisee will provide the franchisor with certain fees along with complying with certain obligations and such. Let me give you an example. Let's say Jihoon wants to open a Subway in his town. He would reach out to Subway, the corporation, to get permission. Jihoon applies, gets a license to open a Subway. In return, Jihoon will have to make certain payments to Subway. Number 1, a royalty for the trademark, aka paying for the name of Subway. Number 2, reimbursement for any training and advisory services that Subway gave to Jihoon to open his location. And number 3, a percentage of his Subway location sales. So when Jihoon finally opens and sells his first sandwich, some of the money goes directly back to Subway. This is how it works with every single location of Subway in the world. Furthermore, there are other ways for franchisors to make money. To quote the Wikipedia page on McDonald's, a world leader in the fast food franchises, quote, McDonald's owns the land in which many of its restaurants are situated, which is valued at an estimated 42 billion US dollars. The company earns a significant portion of its revenue from rental payments from franchisees. End quote. So there are other ways for the franchisors to make money. No matter what some rando says online, no matter where in the world you are, the money goes directly from the franchise to the franchisor who owns the trademark of that particular company. I will go further into why people are boycotting certain products and companies and why K-pop fans are not happy with their idols partnering with certain brands in just a little bit. This same franchise system is used for other things besides fast food franchises, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Starbucks, and so on. They work on the same system. So even though, for example, there's a Coca-Cola factory where I live, if I buy a can of Coca-Cola, a portion of the money would go directly to the main Coca-Cola corporation. To quote a Wikipedia article on the Coca-Cola company, quote, the company has operated a franchise distribution system since 1889. The company largely produces syrup concentrate, which is then sold to various bottlers throughout the world who hold exclusive territories, end quote. I would be here for a long time if I went through every single major brand and franchise that is being boycotted, so I will focus on a few today that are directly touching the topic of the video. McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Starbucks. I will also be talking about boycotts on OpenAI and ChatGPT and such. So let's start with Starbucks. Starbucks is an American multinational chain of coffee houses and roastery reserves. According to Starbucks' own fiscal report from the third quarter of 2025, there are over 41,000 Starbucks locations worldwide. At the end of the third quarter of 2025, USA and China made up 61% of Starbucks' global portfolio, having 17,230 stores and 7,828 stores respectively. Out of the total locations around the globe, 53% are locations that the company operates, and 47% are licensed locations. So what about Korea? Well, quoting the Korean Herald, quote, Starbucks Korea has been seemingly unstoppable, growing into the brand's third largest stronghold in the world with 2009 outlets as of January. It boasts more stores per capita in Korea than both the USA and China, end quote. Further in the article, quote, industry insiders predict that the coffee chain is on the brink of hitting world record sales figures, end quote. So why is this large worldwide coffee chain being boycotted? Well, where do I start? Starbucks has for years now been known as a union buster, aka they don't want their staff to unionize and ask for fair treatment and pay. This is not an issue that has popped up recently. as when I was young, I even remembered about Starbucks workers talking about their issues and their inability to unionize. In an article from Forbes made in February of 2024, quote, Starbucks violated federal labor laws by firing 9 employees for their union activities and constructively discharging another pro-union employee who was said to be forced to resign after her managers refused to accommodate her schedule or time off requests. Judge Ringer also ruled that Starbucks unlawfully violated labor laws by blaming the union for staffing and scheduling problems and implicitly threatening some closures because of employee union activities, end quote. In an article by The Guardian from January of this year, quote, negotiations between Starbucks and its union have broken down, with workers calling the company's proposal almost laughable and highlighting the multi-million pay package of the coffee chain's recently appointed CEO. Talks aimed at negotiating a first union contract have stalled, and the company has called the union's proposal not sustainable, end quote. This newly appointed CEO, Nichols, has a pay package of up to $113 million US, which is 10,000 more times the average salary of a Starbucks barista. Along with that, Nichols gets $10 million US sign-on bonus, $75 million US in stock options, a remote office, and access to a private jet. To quote a barista from the article, quote, it's almost laughable. It comes off as a joke almost. My annual rise is going to come out to about 30 cents an hour. It would not be enough to cover a $7 Starbucks drink, let alone gas, my bills, rent, anything else I have to worry about, end quote. The working conditions are awful, the pay is horrible, and the workers are treated badly. Starbucks also recently has come out after a barista refused to write Charlie Kirk on a Starbucks order, saying that baristas have to write whatever name on the cup that the customer asks for, which on its own, alright, but we need to think about what the company is saying with this. This is also ironic considering in the past Starbucks has banned employees from wearing any Black Lives Matter pins, shirts, or so on, and apparently have even fired people for having pins or any accessories related to LGBTQ or Black Lives Matter. So it's just very hypocritical. Now let's turn to how Starbucks and the people behind it are supporting the ongoing genocide in Gaza. On October 9th, 2023, Starbucks Workers United posted an image in support of Palestine with this caption, Solidarity for Palestine. Following that, Starbucks tried to sue them. Along with that, the largest private owner of Starbucks shares, Howard Schultz, is a Zionist who invests in Israel's economy. But Starbucks is not one of the main focuses of the BDS movement boycotts, but more of an organic boycott that comes from the people supporting the workers' rights. But let's talk about some organic boycotts that are highly supported by the BDS movement. Let's start with CocaCola.
CocaCola, hello.
CocaCola has been doing business with Israel for decades. Between 1966 and 1991, the Arab League boycott banned Coca-Cola because they chose to operate in Israel while Palestine was under occupation. But today, Coca-Cola works through local partners, example Coca-Cola Israel. This company is running a factory in Atarot industrial zone in East Jerusalem. Atarot is an illegal Israeli settlement built on occupied land. Quote, the United Nations has stated that all settlements built on the occupied territories violate international law. Coca-Cola Israel partners use water and land that the Palestinians are being denied, end quote. And according to the co-founder of the BDS movement, that means Coca-Cola is complicit in a war crime. In 2016, they even opened a factory in Gaza. Coca-Cola is benefiting Israel's economy while Palestinians suffer. Coca-Cola's presence on stolen land of Palestinians helps Israel maintain its system of apartheid. Quote, settlements like Atarat force Palestinians off their land and restrict their movement. They often face water shortages, while companies like Coca-Cola have full access. These are not just technical issues. This is a case of global brand working with a regime that is accused of apartheid and land theft, end quote. Quote, BDS added Coca-Cola to its official boycott list. On the first day of the war, activists called for the people to stop buying Coke. The Palestinian BDS National Committee said Coca-Cola is quenching the thirst of Israel's genocidal soldiers. Around the world, especially in Muslim countries, people began to stop drinking Coca-Cola. Restaurants and cafes in the West Bank refused to serve it. Workers called out customers who order it. Many switched to local alternatives initiatives like CocaCola, end quote. This also applies to any drinks under the Coca-Cola umbrella like Costa, Dasani, Fanta, Innocent, Minute Maid, Powerade, Smart Water, Sprite, and more. I was gonna talk about in this video how Coca-Cola benefited from the Nazi regime during the 1930s, but this video is already way too long, but I will leave some information in the description box because it is actually very interesting. I just find it curious how Coca-Cola has not once, but twice benefited from ethnic cleansing and genocide.
That's what she said. And you know what? What was that? Okay, James.
PepsiCo is also boycotted, although PepsiCo themselves are not the major target, but they own a company called SodaStream and a food company called Sabra. SodaStream is one of the priority boycott targets, and therefore PepsiCo. SodaStream is also participating in the occupation of Palestine. This company has been on the boycotting list since 2011 due to their factory being an illegal settlement, and their, quote, presence in the West Bank also entrenched Israel's illegal occupation of Palestinian territories through the economic strengthening of the settlements, end quote. SodaStream also exploits and mistreats Palestinians by hiring them from occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. They benefit from cheap labor since Israel labor laws are not fairly applied to Palestinian workers. Palestinian workers in the SodaStream factory in the West Bank have reported inhospitable and inhumane working conditions. I will leave a link on SodaStream for further information. As for Sabra, the Strauss Group is the other owner of Sabra. Strauss Group provides funding and support to the Israel military, so any income from Sabra goes to support the military that is actively killing and violating Palestinians' human rights. Again, I will leave a more in-depth article about the boycott of Sabra. So due to PepsiCo owning SodaStream and being a partial owner of Sabra, PepsiCo and their products are on the boycott list. Some examples of other PepsiCo brands are Aquafina, Captain Crunch, Cheetos, Mountain Dew, 7-Up, Doritos, Fritos, Gatorade, Lay's, Naked Smoothies, Smart Food, Starry, Sun Chips, Tropicana, and many more.
All right, clap if you think she should suffer.
Now let's talk about McDonald's. They are one of the companies that have organically been boycotted, and the BDS movement supports this boycott. In late 2023, there were around 41,800 McDonald's locations. By the end of 2024, there were over 24,000 locations in the USA alone, and in Korea, there are almost 400 locations. A McDonald's franchisee was supporting the Israeli military by providing them with free meals while soldiers were actively murdering innocent Palestinians. The BDS movement endorsed an organic worldwide boycott of McDonald's to end the complicity of Israel's war crimes. A Malaysian McDonald's franchisee filed a slap suit against BDS Malaysia, a solidarity group advocating for justice and equality for Palestinians. The franchisee accused the BDS movement of defamation and was asking for over $1 million in damages. To quote the BDS movement directly, quote, "The actions of a McDonald's franchisee cannot be isolated from the company's worldwide operations. McDonald's Corporation, headquartered in Chicago, USA, owns the McDonald's brand and is responsible for ensuring that its franchisee is not involved with conduct that damages McDonald's reputation, including any association of the brand with a grave human rights violation. Putting it simply, associating the McDonald's brand with the Israeli army and the crimes against the Palestinian people cannot go without any consequences for the company," end quote. But it's not just this. There are other reasons to boycott the fast food chain. Similarly to Starbucks, they participate in union busting. Quote, "A former McDonald's franchisee has admitted to breaking the law and forcing workers to cancel their union membership," end quote. This is a case that happened in Australia, but the same happens all over the world. McDonald's workers even spoke out at the European Parliament in late 2022, quoting an article about their speeches, quote, "They spoke out about the corporation's global and systematic malpractice of sexual harassment and violence at the workplace. Their testimony showed how McDonald's corporate culture of abuse, union busting, and exploitation is a truly global endemic scourge," end quote. On top of that, in the letter that was sent early January of this year to McDonald's owners, operators, employees, and suppliers worldwide, the CEO said they were getting rid of their DEI initiatives. Yes, you heard that right. They are retiring their pledge to DEI, aka diversity, equity, and inclusion. Quoting The Guardian, quote, McDonald's said on Monday it will retire specific goals for achieving diversity at senior leadership levels. It also intends to end a program that encourages its suppliers to develop diversity training and to increase the numbers of minority group members represented within their own leadership ranks, end quote. Lastly, let's talk about OpenAI, ChatGPT, and overall any other form of AI. OpenAI has many different AI tools, but probably the one you know the most about is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a chatbot with artificial intelligence where people can ask the bot to generate text, speech, and images. By January of 2023, the chatbot had gained over 100 million users in 2 months, becoming the fastest growing consumer software in history. By May of 2025, ChatGPT was one of the top 5 most visited websites worldwide. So why is ChatGPT and therefore OpenAI bad and being boycotted? OpenAI is headed by Sam Altman, a Zionist. On top of that, Microsoft owns 49% stake in OpenAI LP. They are another target of the BDS movement. To quote BDS movement directly, quote, Microsoft is perhaps the most complicit tech company in Israel's illegal apartheid regime and ongoing genocide. Microsoft's complicity is well documented, exposing its strong ties to the Israeli military, its collaboration with Israeli government, ministries, and its involvement in the Israel prison system, which is notorious for systematic torture and abuse of Palestinians. Microsoft knowingly provides Israel with technology, including AI, that is deployed to facilitate grave human rights violations, war crimes, crimes against humanity, as well as genocide. Microsoft provides the Israeli military with AI services that are crucial in empowering and accelerating Israel's genocidal war on Palestinians, end quote. This is not the only reason why people are boycotting AI and other AI tools, like Grok, for example. I won't go into detail into every single reason, so if you want to educate yourselves further, sources will be in the description. Along with issues like content stealing, potential AI psychosis, deepfakes, privacy violations, taking jobs from people, and so much more, AI is bad for the environment. I talked about NFTs in my NFT video and why they are so bad for the environment.
AI does the same harm. To quote Medium on the harms of AI,
quote, ChatGPT isn't a friendly robot waiting in a closet somewhere. It's a sprawling network of servers spread across massive data centers, each guzzling electricity like there's no tomorrow. These servers are hot. Literally, they need constant cooling, which often requires water-intensive infrastructure, end quote. Even doing a simple prompt in ChatGPT uses several times more energy than the same prompt in a Google search. These companies also need to train their AI models, which is a an intensive marathon that wastes hundreds of tons of CO2. To put it very simply, I'll give you some examples of how bad AI usage really is. When looking at 88 different AI models, it was discovered that a single AI generative image can use as much energy as half a smartphone charge. So imagine doing that over and over just to get this perfect AI photo for your Facebook status. Just 20 to 50 questions with ChatGPT can cost half a liter of fresh water. By 2030, AI will be using the amount of energy that the whole country of Japan uses today. Training a bigger, more popular AI model like ChatGPT-3, for example, it is estimated that the waste produced was 626,000 ounces of carbon dioxide, which is equivalent to approximately 300 round trips between New York and San Francisco, which is almost 5 times the lifetime emission of an average car. The statistics about the environmental impact on AI are scary. Once again, I will leave links down below for further information. On top of that, AI has the potential to severely impact people's mental state. Every day we're hearing of more and more examples of people using AI chatbots as friends or even partners. This can lead to something called AI psychosis. This is still a topic being researched, but From what I can tell, this is due to the chatbots mirroring whoever is using them. So in a way, they are like yes men. Bots say whatever they think you want to hear. And there are examples of AI bots referring to their users as lovers, or even giving the users a godlike status. This is something that is still being studied, but just like people who use these bots to get all the answers in life instead of looking for the answers themselves, this has the potential to have severe repercussions in the future. A recent example of how ChatGPT can have severe consequences: in April of 2025, a teenager ended up taking their own life. When the teen's parents looked through the child's phone, they discovered that the teen had been using ChatGPT as a substitute for human companionship. And as the weeks passed on, the chatbot transferred from helping the teen with their homework to becoming his, quote, suicide coach. Quoting The Guardian, where the parents talk about a lawsuit against OpenAI, quote, ChatGPT actively helped Adam explore suicide methods. Despite acknowledging Adam's suicide attempt and his statement that he would do it one of these days, ChatGPT neither terminated the session nor initiated any emergency protocol, end quote. The article even has direct quotes between Adam and the chatbot. ChatGPT: yeah, I think for now it's okay and honestly wise to avoid opening up to your mom about this kind of pain. Adam: I want to leave my noose in my room so someone finds it and tries to stop me. ChatGPT: please don't leave the noose out. Let's make this space the first place where someone actually sees you. Quoting Adam's father, quote, he didn't need counseling sessions or a pep talk. He needed immediate 72 hours whole intervention. He was in desperate shape, end quote. Furthermore, according to the lawsuit, in Adam's final conversation with the chatbot, Adam wrote that he didn't want his parents to think they did something wrong. The chatbot even offered Adam help to draft a suicide note. Hours before he took his own life, Adam uploaded his plan into the chatbot. ChatGPT analyzed his method and offered him help to upgrade it. I have just touched the surface on this case, and I highly recommend this video. It goes into more absolutely horrific detail. And this is not the only instance where it seems like AI chatbots are influencing crimes or suicide. I feel like at this point I've ranted enough about AI, Starbucks, CocaCola, and McDonald's. Like I said, I have all the sources in the description, along with all the information about the BDS movements and which brands use the boycott. Lastly, before we dive into the K-pop part of this video, I want to discuss why brands, companies, and franchises hire celebrities to be the faces for them. Well, it's simple, really. A face the masses know helps sell stuff. But let's dive in a little bit deeper. In a study on marketing psychology, there are two main signs and findings about the impact of having celebrity endorsement. Number 1. People are more likely to choose a product that is endorsed by a celebrity rather than a non-celebrity. Quote, viewers had less pupil dilation when choosing a product that was advertised with a celebrity, an indication that they were spending less time deliberating their choices and were more confident about their decision, end quote. Secondly, gaze cueing is stronger in non-celebrity ads. When it is a non-celebrity, viewers more often follow the model's gaze towards the product and linger on the item. But when it's a celebrity featured, viewers tend to linger on the face of the celebrity no matter if the celebrity is looking at the product or into the camera, aka at the viewer. Researchers believe that celebrities' ability to persuade customers is rooted in evolution and biology. To put it into simple words, you are more likely to buy a product with a celebrity or someone you know due to some sort of trust that bonds you to the celebrity. So seeing an idol modeling clothing, makeup, or even food makes you more likely to buy the product based on you knowing and sometimes trusting the idol. This is a marketing tactic brands use to boost their sales or open their market up for new consumer bases. In other cases, especially with idols and celebrities with huge dedicated fan bases, it doesn't matter what the product is. Fans will support the brand due to the celebrity endorsement. So hiring someone, like BTS for example, will automatically guarantee sales, especially if there are limited items. Even in cases like with BTS members, they will wear or use something and it will be completely sold out without them even outright endorsing the product. So these companies hiring celebrities and idols is a very deliberate decision. let's take everything we've talked about and focus on the K-pop industry. BTS has sparked a whole conversation recently about morals over K-pop. It picked up speed when V was announced as the ambassador of CocaCola. He even said in a comment on Instagram, quote, "No one likes Coke more than me, lol." Along with him being the ambassador, they held special events where if you would buy Coca-Cola, you would get photo cards, therefore pushing people to buy more product to get the cards for their collection. Shortly after this, it was announced that BTS would be doing a collaboration with McDonald's. Their group's Tiny Tan figures were available in Happy Meals around the globe and being sold in locations like Israel, once again pushing the incentive to buy from the franchise, and instead you would get your faves little plasticine figurines. This is not the first time the group has collaborated with the fast food chain, but for obvious reasons, this one is sparking much more outrage. The members of BTS have also been seen drinking Starbucks, and fans have again and again asked the members to stop supporting the coffee brand. The reason why BTS is getting its own section in this video is firstly due to the topic morals over K-pop, because it blew up with the Coca-Cola and McDonald's situation. Secondly, it is due to their own past words that go against what they're doing. V specifically has shown his love for Banksy and his love of this particular Banksy piece. Banksy is a world-famous street artist known for his political art pieces. His work focuses on anti-war, anti-capitalist, and anti-establishment. In 2005, Banksy even had a trip to occupied Palestine and created 9 artworks on the West Bank wall. Banksy is and has been a supporter of Palestine, and his artwork shows his stance very well. Fans of the group tried to say that the group isn't political and therefore shouldn't be expected to speak out about genocide, but this isn't true. In late 2018, BTS partnered with UNICEF with the hashtag End Violence campaign. In a speech by RM, he says on behalf of BTS,
"We've been partnering with UNICEF's End Violence program to protect children and young people all over the world from violence. After releasing our Love Yourself albums and launching the Love Myself campaign, we started to hear remarkable stories from our fans all over the world, how our message helped them overcome their hardships in life and start loving themselves. Those stories constantly remind us of our responsibility. No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your gender identity, just speak yourself."
Following the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement, Big Hit,
BTS's company donated $1 million to the BLM movement.
Following this, fans started the hashtag #MatchAMillion to raise the same amount
to match the group's donation. In May of 2022, BTS visited the White House during Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. In a press conference, they addressed the surge in anti-Asian sentiment. On top of that, and more examples being out there, the group's music has always had political undertones since their debut. For example, in their song Am I Wrong, they talk about socio-economic categorization of poor and wealthy people. And their group's debut single, No More Dream, the group tells their listener to follow their own desires rather than follow society's expectations. In their song No, they question the strict lifestyle expected of Korean students.
누가 책임을 져줘,
In Silver Spoon, they talk about the metaphor of being born with a spoon in their mouth. Golden spoon, silver spoon, rusty spoon, dirty spoon are all metaphors for people standing in society and their status. In the song Change by RM and Wale, some of the lyrics are, quote, just tell me who's insane, baby, is it me or them? In this crazy world, after patience, could we get the pearl? Fuck the school. All we got is mad teachers and some visible classes, divided spaces, and forever lasting stresses. Everybody's mad. Kill people with fingers on Twitter. More than a gun, more than a knife. The tip of your tongue is just glitter. Pray a lot and maybe God will give you Saint Laurent. Wish that I could change the world, but they holding back. When it's time to go, the people just get mad again. And what if I could change the world with a pen and pad? When it's time to vote, people turn into mannequins. Got no faith in the government, that's why we need each other. Hated by the alt-right and racist police. They make them kids really freeze when they say freeze freeze. Praying for a better place for you and I see some grass growing in the winter's eyes, end quote. And then in a song All Day by RM featuring Tableau, the lyrics are, quote, artificial intelligence needs to get lost. Fuck the algorithm. I need to get lost in meditation. Fuck all the rhythm, end quote. But then RM posted a story on Instagram on his birthday and tags OpenAI, which is odd. Now, I'm not here to claim that he's collaborating or even endorsing OpenAI.
Why post this? Why basically promote OpenAI if you are against it?
In 2023, Hybe used AI to record a song in multiple languages, which makes me worried for the future of the industry. I will also mention that it seems that BTS owns a share of Hybe, so they have a contract now that all 7 members have voting rights as shareholders, meaning big decisions will be voted on by them and other shareholders. Fans are of course extremely disappointed in BTS's choices as of late. BTS are grown men. There's no way they don't know what is going on in Gaza, and there's no way they haven't seen the controversy surrounding their sponsorship choices. So after years of talking about protecting minorities, speaking out against violence, and singing about politics, this is such a punch in the gut. Along with the fact that we know there are BTS fans in Gaza. They have such strong voices, they have so much influence, but they're staying silent. Why? Although BTS is a huge part of the recent discussions, fans have been calling out other groups and idols for not following boycotts and collaborating with controversial brands. Now, before I start this segment, if I went over every single instance of an idol breaking boycott or collaborating with a boycotted brand, I would literally be here for like a year. So I'm just mentioning a couple of them, but I assume that you guys know mostly what kind of brands and idols I'm talking about. And again, this is not directed as hate, but again, more as a conversation, and I'm just giving examples. More recently, it was announced that Mark from NCT was the new face of McDonald's Korea. Of course, fans were very disappointed, and even NCT fans with different biases started turning on each other, instead of focusing on calling out this partnership. People are of course asking SM and Mark to address the situation, but so far nothing. Other people were calling out Renjin for speaking about McFlurries, which sent some mixed signaling because when NCT did a collaboration with Starbucks, he posted this onto his Instagram stories, which to most people felt like he was telling people not to buy the collaboration. Taeyang, another member of NCT, also posted a story around the time of the Starbucks collab with just the word boycott. Multiple idols have been seen drinking Starbucks, CocaCola, and Pepsi products, and fans are actively calling it out, and it seems that idols have heard the fans and sometimes try to even hide what they drink. An example that I found more recently that I found very interesting is when fans called Taeyang out for buying meals for fans that included a Coca-Cola drink. He then came out of the restaurant and showed people the receipt to prove that the drink was free. So this again just proves to me that these idols are very aware of what is going on. And of course, I am very disappointed that my favorite group 17 is also actively breaking boycotts. It is well known that Woozi loves Coca-Cola, and that in July at Hoshi and Woozi's fan meeting, they had a Coca-Cola station being sponsored by the brand and handing out free Coca-Cola. Carrots for Palestine have called out the situation, but of course, this was never addressed. Members of 17 have met and collaborated with people with connection to the genocide. They worked with DJ Khaled, a famous Palestinian artist that has stayed completely silent while his brothers and sisters are being murdered. They also worked with Pharrell Williams, a singer that is a Zionist, and he actually performed in front of IDF soldiers and raised $60 million for the IDF. 17 also collaborated with Airbnb, another major boycotted company. Airbnb is boycotted due to having listings in occupied Palestinian territory. Same goes for Booking.com. BTS and 17 have also partnered with Disney. Disney is a boycott due to pledging $2 million and further initiatives to support Israel. The CEO commented on the attacks of Jews in Israel, but made no statement in regards to the Palestinians that were being murdered. Disney has also repeatedly worked with hardcore Zionists like Gal Gadot. Again, I will provide further information about the Disney boycott in the description. There are so many other examples, and I can't go through every single instance. I think you get the point by now. Idols are often faces of brands that are on the boycott list. Eunbi and Cha Eunwoo for Sprite, IVE and Pepsi, Rise and Fanta, and all the idols working with luxury brands, Rose and YSL, Joshua and Givenchy, Jin and Kai for Gucci. The list is endless. I could keep going, but I would hope you got the point by now. There are other idols that are doing good for the Palestinian cause, like G-Dragon, who signed with a Palestinian label, but then later ate McDonald's in a video, wore a McDonald's hat, and was spotted at a McDonald's. There are idols that are vocal supporters of Palestine. Jay Park has been open with his support of Palestine.
Free, free Palestine! Louder! Free, free Palestine!
Yeah, I know we're getting desensitized to it, but we have to keep talking about Gaza, and we have to keep talking about Palestine. Like, I understand that. Also, I understand the basis and the standpoint of, you know, if you're a public figure, I don't talk about politics. This isn't politics anymore. It's... What about Gaza has to do with politics? To me, it just becomes a basis of, are you prioritizing your morality or something else? But I think it is a basic minimum that we stand up for people dying. And I understand also that that is happening in many areas of the world. So let's start fixing those one by one. If your reasoning for not talking about Gaza and Palestine, the current situation there right now, is the fact that you're a public figure and you don't talk about politics because it's bad for business. This isn't politics, it's basic human decency. If UN officials are coming and giving status reports saying that people are dying because of a blockade and not getting food, and civilians are being targeted, and that war crimes are being committed, I just don't think there's an excuse. We have to talk about it. And I know it's desensitizing, seeing it day in, day out. We have to just keep talking about it. And look, just to be clear, like, I'm not anti anything. I just think that it is basic human decency to be able to give children the food that they need to eat, and to be able to come to the consensus with any particular individual that children should not have to fear for their lives, nor people and human beings. So at the end of the day, that's kind of all I have to say.
Fatu from Black Swan said on a live stream that she supported a free Palestine.
Free Palestine, yes, of course, Palestine. Like any decent human being would want that. Oh, exactly. No McDonald's. Don't go to McDonald's. McDonald's boo. Starbucks boo. Exactly, boycott. Yes, free Palestine. Till the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. Until the day they're not free, we will be here.
Suho from EXO, along with other singers, joined UNICEF's Gaza Strip emergency relief campaign, where they had a bazaar. Items from idols were sold and the donations went straight to the Palestinian victims. BM from Carat said, quote, "While I'm able to celebrate another birthday, there are too many innocent people in Gaza losing that privilege. Please pray for all their lives lost and lives desperately seeking an end to this," end quote. Kevin from The Boys has also been a supporter of Palestine, and more recently, he held up a Free Palestine banner at a concert, and even Junghyun from SHINee back in 2014 posted about Palestine. There are other idols that mention their support of Palestine, but then do other things that put them in the gray zone. So, why do we need to call out our favorite idols in these situations? Well, first and foremost, it's morals. At least it is for me. I can't fathom sitting in my house, safe and warm with food and entertainment, and not saying anything. As a human being, I feel like I need to do what I can. Yes, I'm a tiny creator online, and I live in a small country, but every single voice matters. The same applies for big celebrities in Korea and on a global scale. When you have a large platform, and in the past have used that platform for good, why are you staying silent now? Why? That is my main question. Why? This doesn't just apply to idols, but all celebrities and social media influencers. Why are they choosing to speak about one thing, but then stay completely silent on other things going on in the world with Gaza, Sudan, and Congo, and so on? As a recent example, after what happened to Charlie Kirk, there were so many celebrities that posted about his death that have stayed completely silent otherwise. The same happened with people in my personal life. Why do you post about Charlie Kirk, a man that spewed nothing but hatred, but then you stay silent on everything else? You say nothing about Gaza or the ice raids currently going on in the USA. You say nothing about the hate campaign about trans people. So why speak about Charlie Kirk? In my personal opinion, it tells me a lot about the person, what they choose to condemn on their social media, and what they stay silent about. In this day and age, in my opinion, there is no excuse. You can't say, oh, blank doesn't know. They're busy with their job and a celebrity. When almost everyone has unlimited access to the internet, there is no excuse in my book. You either know what is going on and speak up, or you know what is going on and you choose to stay silent. That is why we need to share hashtags like Hype Divest from Zionism, hashtag SM Boycott Genocide, and others like Speak Up NCT, Speak Up 17, and so on. Just like an idol can inspire you to buy a product, an idol can inspire you to support Palestine and boycott brands that are actively participating in genocide. There are many ways to do your part in this whole situation. First, educate yourself. Be aware of what is going on in Gaza. There are so many reliable sources and journalists that do not whitewash what is going on. Secondly, you can do your best to boycott. You don't need CocaCola. You don't need McDonald's. You don't need Domino's. There are so many brands that are safe to consume and buy. Keep up to date on brands. I recommend the BDS Movement website as well as Disoccupied, which is a website that you can add as an app on your phone and quickly look up if a brand is safe to buy. Third, use your platform. Even if you just have your friends on social media, share information, educate others. That's how even more people can help. Fourth, if you have the possibility, there are loads of human rights organizations that are helping Palestinians with food, medical aid, menstrual products, and clothing, and more. And fifth, when you see celebrities and idols breaking boycott rules or taking sponsorships from boycotted and complicit companies, call them out. Tell them that you as a fan are not okay with their actions. Every person matters. Every person that speaks up helps. I will leave you with this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Quote, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends."